Hello YouTube, it's Guido. I am here to announce that I'm going to attempt the tank triathlon. I got my coffee because I'm going to need a lot of it. I'm also going to need marriage counseling and probably some mental help when this is done. There's currently a marathon for all three of the black mutts, the T34B and the IS6B. Now let's not get off onto a tangent about them reskinning it, a tank that already exists, putting a B on it, making it black and selling it. That's not what we're here for. I'm going to try to win all three of these. Now I have the black mutts, but I do not have the other two. So I'm going to end up with silver for the black mutts, but I will get the other two tanks. Although I do have the IS6 and the regular T34. But this is mostly an exercise and seeing if it can be done. And I have plenty of coffee for that. Hopefully, I'm still married by the time this is done because I am going to continue to work my full-time job and various other things that I have. So we're going to dig into this just a little bit on this quick video as I talk about it. The plan is overall that I am going to work on the mutt stuff first and then I'll knock out the other two. I need to get all of the mutt stuff done in 15, which can be done, and I'll explain that in a moment. The 15 days of the 20 that you're given. For the T34 and the IS6B, and the T34B, I'm going to try to get both of them done up to day 10, and then I may have to pick and choose after that. I do have a concert I have to go to in the last 3 days of the event, so it might be if we get to the last 3 days and I can't quite knock it out, I may have to pick one or the other to win at that point or to finish, but we'll see how it goes. The plan is to do all three. The other thing about that is I am going to be live streaming that on my Twitch channel, which is Guido 1212 Cartel. I will try to figure out how to put that little doofer on there on your screen so you can actually click on it, but I'm an old guy having just turned 50 on the 31st, so you're trying to teach an old dog new tricks right here. I'll try to enter into the 2000s though, potentially, and get that on the screen for you. If not, do it the old bloody fashioned way and look it up on Twitch. Also in the forum I have it down on my signature, and I believe on my page you have a link as well. So I'm still working that whole social media thing, I guess it is. So let's call up the little screen here, because this is something I actually do understand with technology. All right, so here it is, the page on Tanksgiving Marathon, and you can get these three tanks. There they are. It's going to go from November 1st to the 2nd, and that's it, and you're done. Oh, wait a minute, they forgot the 0 there. Hey, look, Wargaming screwed up again on their website. So the 1st to the 20th. You need to do 15 of the missions for each tank out of the 20 that are available to get the tank. Meaning for the Schwarzpanzer, you've got to do 15 of 20. For the T-34, you have to do 15 of 20. Mixing and matching them does not work. So it's for each one of those tanks, which does make some of these things pretty difficult as you dig through it. We jump down here and it starts to tell you what you need to do. And what you have to do is click on this little guy right here and it will tell you what you need for each tank. And this is a pretty clunky way to go through it. I've got a chart for you a little bit later on that we'll take a look at that. And let's see, what do we got? Nope, that's what I'm going to do later. Here is a handy dandy chart that politically incorrect name. I want to give him credit for this. He made this, I did not make this, and it breaks it down. So let's take a look at that. I've actually got a better, larger version for us to look at. Hey, look at that. Using technology, amazing. So day 1 through 20, and then they've got each of the tanks, or he has each of the tanks listed out. So on day 1, I have to do, this is damage for the Schwartz, I have to do 15,000 damage, and I have to win 1 for the T-34 and win 1 for the IS-6. There are some secondary requirements that are not listed on here. Generally on the win 1, you have to be in the top X number of XP. I think it's top 10 or something like that, maybe top 12, but it gets harder as you go up. Say you get around to the win 12, you got to be in like the top 8. And you can see that win 25. Now that is a lot. That's 50 games if you won every one of them, and another 47,500 damage over here in the Schwartz. You might say, well, that's not too bad. Just win 25, you'll trip all those missions, good to go. Oh, well, there's a bit of a catch there. There's a bit of a catch there. If we go back over here, we will see that there is a limit to the type of, or the nation, not type, of vehicle that you can use. Tier 4 or higher is the big one. That's not a problem if you've got a lot of tanks like I do. High tier tanks, premiums, all that good stuff. But for the Schwartz, Your Schwartz is bigger than mine. For the Schwartz, you get Germany, Japan, or Sweden. So in order to do all three, you're going to need a good selection of vehicles and high tier, relatively high tier vehicles from each one of the nations. For the T-34B, it's France, UK, and USA, and for the IS-6, China, Czech, Poland, and the USSR. So going back to this list right here, you'll see that I'm going to have to do different tanks for each one of those three areas right there. So that means when I go down here where I was discussing 25 wins, that would be 25 wins in one vehicle, 25 wins in another vehicle. It can be a selection of vehicles, you see what I'm saying. But if I was using one vehicle, and then 47,500 in another set of vehicles, let's call it that. That's a lot of playing. And that's a 100% win rate, isn't it? And that's being high enough in the XP and not having a potato game where your team just happened to win, but you didn't trip the requirements for the mission. So the game plan is this. I'm going to start on day one, and I'm going to try to knock out, as I said earlier, all up to 10. I'm going to try to get all these done up to 10. That looks doable. Win 7, that's 14 wins. I'm going to assume a 50% win rate on this. I run around 60%, but I'm just for my sanity, I'm going to say 50 because I'm going to have off days right there. So that is probably 28 games to knock that out. That's quite a bit on day 9. Everything else is pretty doable. Shouldn't be a huge big deal on the days before. That's where it starts to get very grindy on the win 7. And then we've got just numbers to knock out in any number of games. And that happens pretty quick because you've got things like experience boosters and stuff. Obviously, there's no damage booster. You just have to have some relatively high tier tanks to knock that thing out. So then we get 10, and that means I need 5 for each tank after that. Well, the Schwartz is just damage, so I'm just going to have to grind away, play that guy first, and knock all that out. That's quite the grind. 42,000 is a lot in a day, and I've got some plans on how I'm going to knock this out. Some of these hit on weekends and days off that I have, so those should work out. In between there, my wife is probably going to beat me and try to hurt me some. Hey, you're saying, hey, not a bad deal. So that is going to happen, and then I'll jump over to the T-34. The key being then, after number 10, I'm planning on selecting which one I may go for. Now, if I jumped in and I said, hey, on the day 11, I'm going to do the T-34 Win 12. I'm just going to concentrate on knocking out the damage, and then I'm going to do the Win 12. And if that day's working out really well, I might try to jump into the IS-6, or I may just call that a wash. This one on 2x Kill 3, I should be able to do that in one day for both of those. So the green ones, and he's color-coded these, I didn't really mention that. Green being pretty easy, yellow or whatever that color is, tan being sort of hard, and red being very difficult. So that's a long explanation for saying I may jump around a little bit on these, which would mean if I did it on the T-34 and didn't do it on the IS-6, then I knocked it out, both of them, on the 12th. On the 13th, I will jump over to the IS-6 and knock out Win 15 for it first, which is going to make it a little bit more manageable. That would get me to day 13 with 12 of them done on each one. See how that's going to work, and then I'll just stair step through the rest. When I get into this more grindy area right here, there's going to be lessons learned as I go, and I plan on putting this in the forum, and I will also do some videos and things on my lessons learned when I have time to do it. There may be a point where I change my plan, and that's going to be somewhere around getting up into that 11, 12, 13 area, where if I look at it and how things are going, I may find out, you know what, dude, this just really isn't reasonable. It's not going to happen. So pick one or pick the other and go from there. I did mention I got the Schwartz Panzer already, which means I'm going to end up with the silver on that one. And I'm just really doing that one for the gee whiz kind of idea. Although I am going to knock it out first when I stream up to day 10. And then I'll make decisions. If things are really getting grindy and it's really tearing me up, I'll probably just drop the Schwartz and go for these two. But right now the plan is to knock all these guys out of the park right there. Plus there's the World Series to watch and other things. There you go. We're going to do the marathon. I'm going to document it on the forum. I'll do some videos as I go. I may even throw some on my blog, which is sort of dead right now, but if I do revive it, I'll put up the link there. I am off to figure out if I can put a link on my YouTube video. This should be kind of scary. Guys, we will see you out there. I will be streaming this thing, so when you see me come up, go ahead and check it out, the stream and all that good stuff. Realize that it's going to be catch as catch can. I may just turn it on, knock out a few, and turn it off and run away. But the plan is, as it gets more grindy, I'm probably going to be up pretty late at night. So you'll catch me somewhere around the 8 to 11 to midnight kind of idea as I go with no sleep and try to avoid getting divorced. All right, guys, we will see you out there.